I get comments like this all the time, and honestly, I get it. The first time I opened Fusion, it made absolutely no sense. Like, why can't I just use layers? But here's the thing, Fusion isn't complicated. It's just different, and once you understand how nodes actually work, it becomes way more powerful than stacking layers in After Effects ever could. So in this video, I'm going to break it down simply, and by the end, you'll understand exactly how Fusion works. If you're used to the edit page, or you've come from After Effects, you're probably used to working with layers. Fusion is a bit different. With layers, you stack everything on top of each other. Things at the top will appear in front of the layers below them. With nodes, you connect steps together. So instead of building up, you're building forward. And each node modifies whatever comes before it. If this sounds a bit confusing, don't worry. Once you see it in practice, everything will click. Right here, I've got a simple Fusion composition. If I add a glow here to number 1, it only affects this one element. But if I move that same glow here, now it affects the 2 elements before it. Same effect, completely different result. And that's the core idea of Fusion. It's not about where something is, it's about what passes through it. So let's break down how to properly build a node tree. The very first thing you need to know is how to access all of your nodes. And the hotkey for this is Shift and Space. This brings up your Node Explorer where you can scroll through or search for all of the nodes that Fusion has available. The first node you need is a media out. This is what outputs the Fusion composition to your main timeline. Without the media out, nothing you do in Fusion will show up on the edit page. When you first open a blank Fusion composition, there will already be a media out in the node viewer. Next, you need something to input into the media out. There's a few different ways you can do this. First, there's a media in node. If you have a clip on the edit page and you open it in Fusion, then there will already be a media in node in Fusion. This media in contains the image that is on the timeline in the edit page. You can see in the inspector that the media source is the timeline. You will also get a media in node when you drag something in from the media pool. Again, you can see in the inspector that the media source is the media pool. You can also have a media in node work the same way as an adjustment clip. This is a great way to add Fusion effects onto a clip in a non-destructive way. If you add a media into the node viewer and set the media source to background, it will show what's underneath your Fusion clip on the timeline. The final thing you can do is drag in a background node. This is the way I like to start a new Fusion composition. The main reason I do this is so my Fusion composition is the same size as the timeline. You can see if I drag this square clip in, the Fusion composition is sized the same as the input clip. But if I add a background node as the input, the Fusion composition will be the same size as the main timeline. If you need a transparent background, all you have to do is drag this alpha slider in the inspector all the way down. So now that we've got a main input, let's build on this. If you want to add another image or background node in front of the main input, you can't just drag it onto this line. Nodes like backgrounds and media ins can only be used as inputs. The only input they have is for masks. So if you want to add a new image into your composition, then you have to use a merge node. Merges are the nodes you will use most in Fusion. If we drag a merge in, you can see it has 3 different inputs. The yellow input is the background, the green input is the foreground, and the blue input is for masks. The way you connect things into a merge is very important. If your merge is set up wrong, your entire composition can disappear, even though everything is technically still there. Let me show you how it works. If I build out a simple node tree, you can see this in practice. Right here, I have 3 inputs going into 3 merge nodes all connected together. The first node group, number 1, is connected into the yellow input of the merge node. But look what happens when I press Command T to swap the inputs. With the number 1 going into the green input of the merge, now none of the inputs are visible. This is because merge nodes always need a background input to be visible. Now, what you could do is just switch the inputs of the first merge and everything will become visible again. But this isn't always the best way to do things. Sometimes when building these node trees, they can get pretty complicated and you may have to move things around. So let's say you have some changes in this merge node, but you need to move it up further in the node tree. The way you would do this is just highlight everything, hold down Shift and drag it out and connect it back in further up the line. But now this first merge node doesn't have a background input and everything in the node tree has been disabled. Now you could just swap the inputs, this can get pretty tedious if you're moving nodes around a lot. The best way to set this up is to plug in a transparent background node into the yellow input of the first merge. Now, when you move nodes around, everything will stay active, as this background node will automatically connect to the yellow input of whichever merge is in front of it. This is one of those things that will save you a ton of frustration later on. Now, let's talk about effect nodes. This is anything that affects the nodes that run through it. For example, transform, blur, glow. These are all effect nodes in this context. Effect nodes don't just affect one thing, they affect everything that flows through them. Let me show you what I mean. This line that runs from the first input to the media out is the main pipeline, and each merge node represents a one-way connection into that main pipeline. Think of merges like a one-way valve. They stop anything running back into the input, so everything only flows in one direction, towards the media out. Let me show you this in practice. If I add a glow node to this middle branch, it's only going to affect the input that's running through it. But if I move the glow to this line, it will affect both the branches before it as they both run through the glow. The same thing happens if I move the glow to the main pipeline. If I put it here, the glow is affecting the whole composition. But if I move it to this branch, the glow is only affecting this one input because it's running through a merge and can only flow in one direction, towards the media out. But what if I want to limit what an effect node is actually affecting? Well, this is where the blue input comes in. This is where you connect a mask. These 5 icons are the masks available in Fusion. We're just going to use a rectangle mask for this example. Let's say I want to add a mosaic blur to this card, but I only want the blur to affect the text, not the whole image. All you have to do is plug in the rectangle mask into the blue input of the mosaic blur and resize the mask to the shape that you need, using either this green box, which represents the shape and position of the mask, or the controls in the inspector panel. You can also invert a mask so that it only affects everything outside of that green box. And that's the core of how Fusion works. Now that you understand this, you can build pretty much anything you want in Fusion. And if you want to go further, I've got project files on my website, so you can see exactly how more advanced setups are built. All you have to do is sign up as a free member and you get access to all the free downloads I have available. And if you have anything specific you want to learn how to build in Fusion, drop it down in the comments and I will show you exactly